In this video, you will discover 10 compelling reasons why you should never buy Chinese tea and how it could cost you your life or lead to serious illnesses. We will break down shocking facts supported by research and reveal the hidden dangers lurking in every cup of this beverage. You will learn how Chinese tea can be contaminated with toxic pesticides, heavy metals, radionuclides, and carcinogenic compounds that can damage the liver, kidneys, and nervous system, and even lead to cancer. We will examine real cases of poisoning, bacterial infections, and chronic illnesses linked to the regular consumption of low-quality tea. You will find out why even expensive varieties can be counterfeit and how manufacturers disguise low-grade ingredients as premium products. This video will also guide you on how to avoid dangerous mistakes when choosing tea, which tea-producing countries are the safest, and what to look for to protect your health. Stay with us until the end to learn how to keep yourself and your loved ones safe from life-threatening risks hidden behind attractive packaging and marketing claims. Share your thoughts in the comments. What kind of tea do you drink? Do you check its quality? And have you ever come across questionable products? This video is going to be incredibly informative and helpful. If you want to take control of your health like a pro, give it a like, and let's get started. Reason 10. Never buy Chinese tea. It may be filled with artificial flavorings and colorants. Tea is an ancient drink that has been valued for centuries for its natural qualities, aroma, and health benefits. However, in today's market, many Chinese manufacturers abandon traditional processing methods in favor of quick profits, adding artificial flavorings and colorants to their tea. These chemical additives enhance the tea's color and fragrance, but they do nothing to improve its quality. On the contrary, such manipulations turn a seemingly harmless cup of tea into a potential health risk. Research conducted at the American Institute of Food Research found that approximately 17% of Chinese tea samples imported into the United States contain synthetic flavorings that do not meet safety standards. Among these additives are substances known to trigger allergic reactions, ranging from mild skin rashes to severe anaphylactic shock. One of the most common ingredients is ethyl vanillin, a synthetic compound used to give tea a vanilla-like aroma, which can cause strong allergic responses in sensitive individuals. Beyond artificial flavorings, many low-quality Chinese teas are treated with synthetic colorants to make the drink appear more appealing. This is particularly common with green and black teas, where the natural color of the leaves is often altered through chemical processing. One of the most concerning additives is tartrazine E102, a synthetic yellow dye that research has linked to an increased risk of hyperactivity in children and chronic gastrointestinal disorders in adults. While this dye is strictly regulated in the United States and Europe, in China it is widely used without significant restrictions. One documented case from American medical practice involves a 42-year-old man, Michael Stevenson, from Dallas, Texas. He had been experiencing persistent stomach pain, skin rashes, and chronic fatigue. After thorough medical examinations, doctors discovered high levels of synthetic colorants in his system. It turned out that for years he had been drinking green tea imported from China, unaware that instead of a natural beverage, he was consuming a chemical-laden mixture. After switching to organic tea, his health significantly improved. Governments have been addressing this issue at a regulatory level for years. In the United States, Canada, Germany, the United Kingdom, and Australia, strict certification requirements for imported tea are being enforced. For example, Canada has banned the import of tea containing certain synthetic flavorings and dyes, whilst Germany requires additional laboratory testing for such products before they reach the market. Despite these efforts, counterfeit and low-quality tea still finds its way onto store shelves. Consumers can protect themselves by carefully examining tea labels and choosing products marked as additive-free, organic, or certified. Reliable sources include organic food stores and teas certified by independent organizations. It is also important to pay attention to taste. If a tea has an overpowering aroma or an unnaturally bright color, it's best to avoid it. By choosing high-quality verified tea, you can safeguard your health and avoid unnecessary risks. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. Reason 9. Never buy Chinese tea. It may contain foreign substances and counterfeit ingredients. Tea is more than just a beverage. It is a symbol of health, comfort, and harmony. However, behind the beautifully designed packaging of Chinese tea, there may be something entirely different from what the buyer expects. In the pursuit of profit, unscrupulous manufacturers use various tricks. They grind up tea waste, mix it with cheap herbs, and add artificial flavorings and colorants to make the product appear more appealing. As a result, instead of a natural and beneficial drink, consumers may end up with a cocktail of unknown substances that can harm their health. A study conducted by the National Center for Food Studies revealed that 38% of Chinese tea samples imported into the United States and Europe contained undeclared additives. Additionally, 27% of cases involved expensive tea varieties being substituted with cheaper alternatives, while 19% of tested samples contained pesticide and heavy metal residues. These harmful substances can accumulate in the body, leading to chronic intoxication, liver damage, and nervous system disorders. Tea counterfeiting has become a serious issue, especially on e-commerce platforms and online marketplaces. Verifying the true origin of the product is difficult, and sellers often conceal critical details. Laboratory tests have identified batches of Chinese green tea where lead and cadmium levels exceeded safe limits by 3 times. These heavy metals are known to cause kidney dysfunction, cognitive impairment, and weakened immunity. One such case involved a woman from Denver who regularly drank Chinese tea purchased online for several months. She began experiencing persistent fatigue, headaches, and a metallic taste in her mouth. Doctors found dangerously high levels of lead in her blood, leading to chronic poisoning. Later, it was discovered that the tea she had been consuming contained toxic compounds, which had been accumulating in her body over time. The global tea market is vast, and even in developed countries, some suppliers sell products without proper quality control. The best way to avoid these risks is to choose tea from reputable manufacturers, demand quality certifications, and steer clear of suspiciously cheap offers. Genuine tea cannot be sold at an unreasonably low price, and its origins should always be transparent. What do you think of this information? Share your thoughts in the comments. Reason 8. Never buy Chinese tea. It may contain dangerous levels of fluoride. Tea is traditionally seen as a symbol of health and longevity, but only when it is free from hidden dangers. One such threat is fluoride, which naturally accumulates in tea leaves as they grow. In small amounts, fluoride is beneficial for dental health, but when its concentration exceeds safe limits, it can cause serious damage to bones, teeth, and even internal organs. Many tea plantations in China are located in regions with high fluoride levels in the soil, making the leaves grown there potentially hazardous to health. A study conducted by the American Institute of Nutritional Toxicology found that 32% of Chinese tea samples contained fluoride levels significantly exceeding safe limits. In some cases, the concentration reached 6 milligrams per liter of brewed tea, which is twice the maximum allowable level for drinking water in the United States. Consuming such tea regularly can lead to fluoride accumulation in the body, resulting in chronic toxicity. The consequences can be severe. Dental fluorosis is one of the first warning signs, appearing as white spots on the teeth, which later develop into weakened and damaged enamel. Over time, excess fluoride settles in the bones, making them brittle and more prone to fractures. For older adults, this can accelerate osteoporosis, while younger individuals may experience chronic fatigue and joint pain. There have also been cases where prolonged consumption of fluoride-laden tea led to kidney dysfunction and endocrine disorders. At the University of North Carolina, doctors treated a 51-year-old man who had been drinking 5 cups of Chinese tea every day for 10 years. He reported persistent bone pain and weakness. After a series of tests, his fluoride levels were found to be nearly 3 times higher than normal, leading to early osteoporosis and decreased bone density. Further investigation revealed that the tea he had been consuming was grown in a Chinese region with naturally high fluoride levels in the soil. In the United States and Europe, quality control systems require regular testing for harmful substances in tea, yet some batches with excessive fluoride levels still make it to the market. The risk is especially high when buying from unknown sellers who do not provide information about the tea's origin. Safe tea should undergo strict laboratory analysis, and the packaging should clearly indicate quality certification. If the country of origin or region where the tea was grown is not specified, it is best to avoid such products and choose alternatives from safer regions. What are your thoughts on this? Share your opinion in the comments. Reason 7. Never buy Chinese tea. It may contain deadly mycotoxins. The aroma of freshly brewed tea is often associated with comfort and relaxation, but if people knew what might be hiding inside some packages of Chinese tea, they would think twice before taking a sip. In humid conditions and improper storage, mold can develop in tea leaves, producing mycotoxins, toxic substances that can cause serious damage to the body. The most dangerous of these are aflatoxins, which have strong carcinogenic properties and gradually destroy the liver, kidneys, and nervous system. A study conducted by the American Institute for Food Safety found that 26% of Chinese tea samples on the international market contained traces of mycotoxins, and in 9% of cases, aflatoxin levels exceeded safe limits by 2 or more times. These toxins accumulate in the body over time, slowly damaging cells and increasing the risk of cancer. Long-term consumption of contaminated tea can lead to chronic poisoning, weakness, dizziness, and loss of appetite, and in severe cases, irreversible liver damage. The danger is that mycotoxins do not alter the taste or smell of tea, making them impossible for consumers to detect. Many Chinese suppliers fail to store tea properly, leaving raw materials in damp warehouses where mold spores thrive. The risk is especially high in cheap tea batches, where sanitary standards are often ignored. In 2022, laboratory tests found some black tea samples from China had aflatoxin levels 4 times higher than the acceptable limit. Doctors at Johns Hopkins University treated a 58-year-old man from Boston who experienced persistent nausea, pain in his right side, and extreme weakness. Initially, physicians suspected liver disease, but tests revealed high levels of aflatoxins in his system. It turned out that he had been drinking Chinese oolong tea bought online for years. Continuous exposure to toxins led to severe cirrhosis, requiring long-term medical treatment. To avoid this risk, it is essential to choose tea only from trusted manufacturers that test for mycotoxins. Reliable companies clearly state on the packaging that their products have undergone safety checks, and they store their tea in dry conditions to prevent mold growth. Tea without clear information about its producer or origin, especially when purchased from questionable online sellers, can pose a serious hidden health threat. What do you think about this? Let's discuss in the comments. Reason 6. Never buy Chinese tea. It may contain dangerous bacteria. Tea is often associated with warmth and health benefits, but behind the elegant packaging of Chinese tea, a deadly threat may be lurking. Unsanitary production conditions, poor storage, and lack of strict quality control create an environment where harmful microorganisms can thrive. Among the most dangerous are E. coli and Salmonella, bacteria that can cause severe food poisoning and acute gastrointestinal infections. A study conducted by the American Institute of Microbiology found that 14% of Chinese tea samples sold in the US contained traces of pathogenic bacteria. In 7% of cases, E. coli was detected, while 5% tested positive for Salmonella, a bacteria capable of causing serious intestinal infections. These microorganisms do not die even when the tea is brewed, especially if the water temperature is not high enough. Contaminated tea can lead to severe poisoning, accompanied by nausea, violent vomiting, diarrhea, and sharp abdominal pain. In serious cases, infection can cause dehydration, kidney failure, and even sepsis. The most vulnerable groups are children, the elderly, and people with weakened immune systems. There have already been documented cases of mass food poisoning caused by Chinese tea in several countries, including the United States and Canada. Doctors at a clinic in Chicago treated a 37-year-old man who was admitted with an acute intestinal infection. He experienced severe abdominal pain, a high fever, and continuous vomiting. Tests confirmed a Salmonella infection, and the source was traced back to Chinese pu-erh tea, which he had been drinking daily for several weeks. The tea had been purchased online from an unknown seller, and later investigations revealed that it had been stored in unsanitary conditions, allowing bacteria to multiply. To minimize the risk, it is crucial to buy tea only from trusted manufacturers who conduct strict microbiological testing before selling their products. Reputable brands follow sanitary standards, ensuring their tea is free from harmful bacteria. Tea without clear certification or information about its origin can be dangerous, especially if purchased from unreliable online marketplaces with no verified reviews. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments. Reason 5. Never buy Chinese tea. It may be contaminated with radionuclides. Tea leaves absorb not only beneficial minerals from the soil, but also harmful substances, especially when grown in environmentally hazardous areas. In some regions of China, high levels of radioactive contamination have been recorded, and this is not just speculation. Research has shown that tea plants grown in such areas can accumulate radionuclides, with the most dangerous being cesium-137 and strontium-90. Once these elements enter the human body through regular tea consumption, they gradually build up, increasing the risk of severe diseases. According to the American Institute of Radiation Safety, 16% of tested Chinese tea samples contained traces of radionuclides, and in 5% of cases their concentration exceeded safe limits. The highest risks are found in regions where nuclear tests were previously conducted or where large industrial enterprises operate. In such areas, radioactive particles contaminate the soil and water, which are then absorbed by the tea plants. Radionuclides are undetectable by taste or smell and do not break down during brewing. Long-term consumption of contaminated tea can lead to cesium-137 accumulation in muscles and bones, increasing the risk of leukemia and other cancers. Strontium-90 replaces calcium in bones, weakening them and contributing to the development of osteoporosis. This type of contamination is particularly dangerous for children and the elderly, as their bodies are more susceptible to radiation exposure. American doctors encountered a 44-year-old man from Seattle who was diagnosed with bone cancer. He had never worked in hazardous industries and had not been exposed to radiation. Yet lab tests revealed high levels of strontium-90 in his body, which could only have come from food. After further investigation, it was discovered that he had been drinking 5 cups of Chinese green tea daily for several years. The tea was grown in a region known for high radioactive contamination. The issue of radioactive contamination in food products is a global concern. However, developed countries like the United States, Canada, Germany, and Japan conduct regular checks on imported goods for radionuclide levels. Despite these efforts, some dishonest suppliers manage to bypass regulations, especially when selling products online. To protect yourself and your family, it's best to buy tea only from trusted manufacturers that provide laboratory test results. If the packaging does not indicate the region of origin or safety certifications, it is safer to avoid the purchase altogether. Do you agree or disagree? Let's discuss in the comments. Reason 4. Never buy Chinese tea. It may contain dangerous carcinogens. Real tea should bring both enjoyment and health benefits, but if it is grown and processed using poor practices, every cup can become a serious health risk. Many Chinese tea producers use smoke drying methods where the leaves are exposed to hot air filled with soot and tar particles. As a result, tea accumulates polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, compounds with strong carcinogenic properties. These substances form when organic material burns and settle on the leaves, entering the body with every sip. The American Institute of Environmental Studies analyzed Chinese tea imports and found that 22% of tested samples contained PAH levels exceeding safety limits. The highest contamination was found in smoked teas like Lapsang Souchong, as well as in certain fermented pu-erh varieties. Regular consumption of these teas leads to toxic compounds accumulating in the body, significantly increasing the risk of gastrointestinal cancers. The danger is that polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons have no distinct taste or smell. A person may drink tea unaware that along with its warm, pleasant aroma, they are consuming tiny doses of toxic compounds that slowly accumulate in their tissues. Studies show that long-term exposure to these substances increases the likelihood of stomach, liver, and pancreatic cancer. People with weakened immune systems, chronic digestive issues, and smokers are particularly vulnerable, as their bodies already face a higher carcinogenic load. Doctors at the University of California Cancer Center diagnosed a 53-year-old man from San Francisco with esophageal cancer. He had no bad habits, yet drank 5 cups of Chinese smoked tea. Biochemical analysis revealed high levels of PAHs in his system. For a long time, he ignored occasional stomach pains and mild discomfort after eating until his condition worsened. Later, it was determined that his regular consumption of tea containing dangerous compounds could have contributed to the disease. Countries with strict food safety standards, such as the United States, Canada, Germany, and Sweden, conduct rigorous testing of imported tea, yet contaminated batches still reach the market. The greatest risk comes from buying tea from unverified suppliers, especially online, where quality control is uncertain. To avoid this threat, it is best to choose tea that has undergone laboratory testing and opt for varieties that are not processed using aggressive drying methods. If the packaging does not specify how the tea was processed or whether it has been tested for harmful substances, it is safer to avoid the purchase altogether. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments. Reason 3. Never buy Chinese tea. It may contain dangerous nitrates and nitrites. Tea is often considered a healthy beverage, known for boosting energy and promoting well-being, but only if it is grown in a clean environment. In China, tea production is focused on mass-market demand, which means high yields take priority over quality. To speed up plant growth, Chinese farmers use excessive amounts of nitrogen-based fertilizers. This leads to an accumulation of nitrates and nitrites in the tea leaves, posing a serious health risk. A study conducted by the American Institute of Food Toxicology found that 29% of Chinese tea samples contained elevated nitrate levels, while 12% tested positive for nitrites, exceeding safe limits. While these compounds are not inherently deadly, once inside the body, they can convert into nitrosamines, powerful carcinogens linked to stomach, esophageal, and liver cancer. Regular consumption of tea with high nitrate content can lead to chronic poisoning, reduced oxygen levels in the blood, and a weakened immune system. Nitrosamines are especially dangerous for people with digestive disorders. Those suffering from gastritis or ulcers face a significantly increased risk of developing cancer if they regularly consume tea with high nitrate levels. Additionally, nitrates and nitrites can disrupt cardiovascular function, causing sudden spikes in blood pressure and poor circulation. Doctors at the Gastroenterology Center of the University of Florida treated a 46-year-old man from Orlando who had been experiencing chronic heartburn, weakness, and weight loss. Medical tests revealed high levels of nitrosamines in his body, and a biopsy confirmed a precancerous condition in his stomach lining. The cause? Chinese green tea, which he had been drinking daily for several years. Further investigation revealed that his preferred brand used excessive nitrogen-based fertilizers, leading to a dangerous accumulation of toxic compounds in the tea leaves. In countries with strict food safety regulations such as the United States, Germany, and Australia, nitrate and nitrite levels in tea are closely monitored. However, contaminated batches still make it onto the market. The biggest risk comes from cheap brands sold online, where country of origin and farming methods are often unclear. To avoid this risk, it is crucial to choose organic tea with verified quality certifications. If the packaging lacks information about production methods and testing for harmful substances, it's best to avoid the purchase altogether. What do you think about these facts? Share your thoughts in the comments. Reason 2. Never buy Chinese tea. It may be contaminated with heavy metals. Tea is traditionally associated with purity and natural health benefits, but if it is grown in a polluted environment, every cup can pose a serious health risk. In China's industrial regions, soils and water sources contain high concentrations of heavy metals like lead, cadmium, and mercury. These toxic elements accumulate in tea leaves and then enter the human body, disrupting vital organ functions and leading to long-term health problems. A study conducted by the American Institute of Environmental Safety found that 23% of Chinese tea samples imported to the U.S. contained traces of heavy metals, while 9% had lead and cadmium levels exceeding safety limits by 2 or more times. The most dangerous teas come from regions near mining operations and large industrial facilities, where soil contamination remains critically high. The danger of heavy metals is that they build up in the body over time. Symptoms of poisoning may not appear for months or even years and can include chronic fatigue, headaches, memory problems, and kidney dysfunction. Long-term exposure to lead damages the nervous system, while cadmium accumulates in bones and kidneys, triggering chronic diseases. Mercury is particularly hazardous for children and pregnant women, as it can impair fetal brain development. Doctors at the Toxicology Center at the University of Texas treated a 39-year-old woman from Houston who had been drinking large amounts of Chinese tea for several years. She reported constant weakness, joint pain, and loss of coordination. Medical tests revealed high levels of cadmium and lead in her bloodstream, and further investigation traced the poisoning to tea containing dangerous concentrations of heavy metals. Over time, the toxic buildup caused kidney damage, requiring extensive treatment. Countries with strict food safety standards, such as the United States, Germany, Japan, and Canada, enforce rigorous testing for heavy metal contamination in food products. However, contaminated Chinese tea still makes it onto the market, especially through online sellers and unregulated suppliers. To avoid this risk, it is essential to choose tea that has undergone independent laboratory testing. If the packaging does not provide information on heavy metal testing, it's better to skip the purchase and opt for brands that guarantee product safety. Let's discuss this. What are your thoughts? And here's the most important point on our list. Reason 1. Never buy Chinese tea. It may contain dangerous levels of pesticides. Tea has long been considered a symbol of health and longevity, but when it comes to Chinese tea, that perception may be misleading. In pursuit of higher yields and bigger profits, many Chinese producers use pesticides that are banned in developed countries due to their toxicity. These chemicals are not just applied in small amounts. They are often used in excessive quantities, far exceeding safety limits. Tea leaves absorb these toxic substances, which then end up in every cup, exposing consumers to hidden health risks. A study conducted by the American Institute of Agricultural Safety found that 34% of Chinese tea samples contain pesticide residues, while 14% exceeded safe limits. Some of the detected chemicals included Fluoride, organophosphate insecticides, known for their neurotoxic effects, and carbamates, which can cause hormonal imbalances. Many of these substances are banned in the United States and European Union, yet they are still widely used in China. The danger of pesticides is that they have no noticeable taste or smell, making them impossible to detect in tea. Their effects on the body may not be immediate, but as toxins accumulate over time, the consequences can be severe. Short-term exposure may cause headaches, nausea, skin rashes, and breathing difficulties, while long-term consumption of pesticide-laden tea can increase the risk of cancer, liver and kidney damage, and immune system suppression. This is especially dangerous for children and pregnant women, as toxic compounds can interfere with fetal development. Doctors at the Toxicology Clinic at the University of Illinois diagnosed severe poisoning in a 52-year-old man from Chicago who had been drinking Chinese tea daily after purchasing it from an online marketplace. He reported chronic fatigue, dizziness, and weakness in his limbs. Toxicology tests revealed dangerously high levels of chlorpyrifos, a pesticide banned in the US, but still heavily used in China. This chemical affects the nervous system, causing irreversible damage, and long-term exposure has been linked to cancer. Countries with strict food safety regulations, such as the United States, Canada, Germany, and Switzerland, enforce rigorous controls on pesticide levels in food products, including tea. However, contaminated batches of Chinese tea still occasionally reach the market. The biggest risk comes from online retailers and private sellers, where quality control is minimal or non-existent. To protect your health, it is safer to choose tea from regions with high environmental standards such as Japan, Taiwan, or India. Reputable producers provide laboratory test results confirming the safety of their products, and this is something every buyer should check before making a purchase. Every year, millions of tons of Chinese tea enter the global market, but not all of it is safe. In this video, we explored 10 serious reasons why drinking Chinese tea could harm your health or even cost you your life. Fraud, toxic pesticides, heavy metals, and radiation contamination, these hidden dangers could be lurking in every sip if you don't choose your tea carefully. Now you have valuable information to help you avoid dangerous mistakes when buying tea. It's important not only to be aware of the risks associated with Chinese products, but also to carefully check the origin, ingredients, and quality. Choose trusted brands, certified suppliers, and regions with high environmental standards. Just because something looks natural and healthy doesn't mean it actually is. Which of these risks surprised you the most? Have you ever come across low-quality Chinese tea or other unsafe food products? Share your experience to help warn others. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have even more eye-opening investigations, scientific facts, and practical health tips coming your way. If you found this topic interesting, be sure to check out our other videos.